Hello, everyone, and welcome you all to another chapter of the Davinci Resolve tutorial. So now we are on our chapter number 2, where I'll be installing and creating a new project. Okay, so we'll be learning how you will be able to install the Davinci Resolve software and also how to get started with this particular software. So before getting started, you need to know how to create up a project where you will be saving all your resource files and also the main project, okay, in which you're going to work on, because later you're going to export that same particular file as the final project. Okay, so we'll be learning about all these things over here in detail. So let's not waste time and let's get started. So to download DaVinci Resolve, you can go to any browser, whatever you're using, as I'm using Chrome right now. Okay. So the thing what you guys can basically do over here is come into your search bar, and from there, make sure that you search for DaVinci Resolve. Okay. So let me search for that over here. And as you guys can see, on my screen, I do have all of these options over here for DaVinci Resolve. Okay, so the first thing what you need to do is you need to go to this particular website. Okay, so this is the Blackmagic Design. So DaVinci Resolve is a software by the Blackmagic Design. So for that, you just need to click on DaVinci Resolve over here, and this is basically the home page of the DaVinci Resolve, and it is a software by the Blackmagic Design. And here you guys can see you do have this footage which is done basically by DaVinci Resolve. Here you guys can see why it's quite popular for its color grading. Okay, so here you guys can see you guys can make cinematic shots, you guys can make cinematic color grading over here. Okay, and if you do come down over here, you guys can see that you do have the option of free download. Okay, so if you want to download this one for free, you guys can come here and click on free download now. And once you click that, you will have this particular option over here. So they're asking that which particular one do you want to use? Okay, do you want to use the 18.6? Okay, and for what device? Are you using a Mac OS or an Apple product, or you do have a Linux PC, or you are using a Windows? Okay, so let's say I am using a Windows for now, and if I just click on Windows, a file will get downloaded, which I need to later on actually save that. Okay, so if I just click on Windows, basically it will just download me a page over here, and also they're asking me to register. Okay, so once you click over here, you guys can see that you need to put on all your details over here. You need to put on your country, the phone number and stuff, and also if you want to share anything about the product, you guys can come here and you guys can actually share your experience with the Blackmagic website itself. Okay, and also you guys can recommend that what are the features that they should add. Okay, so they also take suggestions from you. And once you're done, you guys can just click on register and download from here. Okay, and if you want to take the premium version, you guys can see if you do want to buy, it's $295 for a year. Okay, so if you do want to see more about what it provides, you guys can come here and you guys can check what's new in this version. Okay, so here you guys can see what are the versions and what all is new over here. Here you guys can see that you guys will be able to collaborate in the cloud space. And also here you guys can see they do have Blackmagic proxy generator, they do have the Blackmagic cloud camera sync, which is not available in the previous versions. Okay, so you guys can come here and check all those things out. And if you do want to check anything about the fusion page, or if you do want to check anything about the coloring page, you guys will be able to see all those things over here as well. Okay, again, let's go to the overview page, and if you come down here, you guys can see different kind of news and why it is mostly used in the Hollywood movies, okay, and different kind of movies. So you guys can check all these things out right from over here. And if you just go through all these details which are provided over here, I am sure that you guys will also get a basic idea of what DaVinci Resolve is, how it actually works, how many pages they do have, what are its features. Okay. But in total, we'll be learning about that in detail into this particular chapter. You can also do motion graphics. You can do some work with the VFX as well over here using the Fusion page. And yeah, I hope you guys do have understood that how you will be able to install DaVinci Resolve. So as I've already installed DaVinci Resolve from before, I will just cancel this particular part and let's come here. And from here, let's open up the DaVinci Resolve application. Okay, so it might take some time. Okay, and for me, I am using the 18.5 version. Okay, so you guys can come here and you guys can basically check out which is the latest version for you. Okay, so most of the things will remain the same, but few other things might change with the version. Okay, so as you guys can see right now over here on my screen, I do have a popped up page. Okay, and over here into this page here, you guys can see the first thing which I have over here is the untitled project. Okay. So this is the project. If I do want to create up a new project, I can just click over here and click on to new project option. And let's say I do have worked in one file previously. And now I want to open up the same file and I want to continue working on that particular file. So in that case, if you just click on open, okay, you will be redirected to this particular page, and from here you can go to file, and from file you guys can actually import that particular file or open that particular file in which you are working on. Okay, so again, if you do want to cut this one, let's come here and let's just close this thing down. Okay, so you guys can come here and you guys can just close this thing down as well. Let's come here. Let's click on to DaVinci Resolve again. Okay, again, I'm just opening up this particular file. Okay, let's wait for it me to show the home page again. Okay, so I'll just wait over here. And that was about opening up a new page. And this is of creating a new page. If you want to export anything, if you do have anything in your recent files, you guys can export it from here. And also you do have the option for importing as well. Okay. So here, if you do want to see your projects in this particular view, you guys can come here and you guys can actually view it quite like this. And also over here, you guys can see there is an option known as the local database. Okay, so let's say, why do we use local database? Let's say I do have 5 of us. We are working on a single project. Okay, so it's a team project, right? So over here, you guys can actually create a local database where you guys can multiple of you can work in the same file all together at once. Okay, so if you want to add it, if you want to add members into your local database, you guys can actually add, you guys can create one, and if others want you to join in their local database, they can also invite you. Okay, so there are these particular options on top here. You guys can see you do have the sorting options here. If you do want to restore anything, you guys can restore. And if you do have a lot of local databases, in that case, you guys can also search by their particular name. Okay, so again, I will just click over here. Now I don't see the local database page. And on top here, you guys can see if you want to add up any folder where you want to save up all your recent works, you guys can come here, add up a folder. And over here, if you want to copy any of your project, you guys can come here and you guys can copy your project to a particular location. And using this slider, you guys can zoom in, zoom out. Here you guys can see, once I zoom in, this particular icon or the project is getting bigger. Okay, and if I do have any kind of project, let's say if I just hover my mouse over this particular project, then I will be able to see the preview of the project in which I worked on. Okay. And also here you do have the sorting order, how you want it to sort. Do you want it to sort in a ascending order or in a descending order? You guys can check about that as well. Here you will be able to see all the details about your project. Over here, they'll ask you that how you want view. Do you want it in a list view? Here you guys can see you will have it in a list view as well. But for me, I will just keep this one up in a grid view itself. Okay. And on top, you do have this network options. Let's say if you're collaborating with other creators or other editors, you guys can actually do that. And here you guys can see you do have this cloud account as well. Okay. So if you are a premium user of the Davinci Resolve, you will basically get Blackmagic Cloud Space, okay, where you will be able to save all your work, okay, all your datas, and you will be able to collaborate with a lot of creators as well. So first thing first, I will create up a new document. So for that, if I just click here once, and let's say I will just click on new project, and they'll ask me that what do I want to name this one? So let's say I will name this one as creating a project. Okay, so let's come here. Let's name this one as creating a project, and I will just click on to create. Okay, so once I've clicked on create on my screen, you guys can see I do have this particular page. Okay, so this is basically the workspace in which I am going to work over here. So at first, it might look quite messy and you guys might get confused, but once you move deep into the class, you guys will know that it is not quite hard. Okay, so for that I will just come here and let me show you guys about this 6 pages. So this is the media page, this is the cut page, this is the edit page, this is the fusion, the color grading, the fairlight, which is about the audio, and lastly here we do have the deliver page. Okay, so in next class we'll be learning about these things in detail. Okay, so these are the 7 page which are quite useful and the mostly used things. Whether you are using a Mac or you're using a Windows, you will mostly have a workspace or interface quite like this. And also it depends on the type of PC you're using, what is the screen size. Okay, if your screen size is bigger, maybe you will see few of the other options, okay, few more options over here. So I do have already created a project. Okay. So now let's say I want to actually put up a preset over here. Okay. So for that, what I need to do is I need to come here onto the file option. And from the file option, I need to go here into the project settings. And the shortcut key for that is Shift plus 9 from your keyboard if you're using a Windows. Okay. Otherwise, if you're using a Mac, it's Option plus 9 from your keyboard. Okay, let's click on project settings over here. And once you click on project settings here, you guys can see what is the resolution. Okay, so here you guys can see it is in HD. And if you want to come here, if you want to check out other presets, you guys can come here and check. These are the different presets available right over here. Okay, so you guys can come here, check all those things out. You guys can also come here and you guys can actually put it manually. Okay, if you don't want the presets, let's say I will come here, I will put 1940 into 1020. Okay, so I will just come here, I will just put 1020 over here, and I have just made changes over here in these particular values. But here in my timeline resolution, you guys can see it had turned from 1920 into custom. Okay, so it shows me that now I do have a custom timeline format. Okay, so again, if I do want to go back to the same way how it was before, let's go to 1080 into 720. Okay, so let's come here, 720p, and again, it's back. And also over here, you guys will be able to select what is going to be the aspect ratio. Okay, so here you guys can choose the aspect ratio from here itself. You guys can choose that for your timeline, how many FPS you want your video to be. Okay, so frame per second, and the short form is FPS. So let's say if you do have a video of 10 seconds, okay, so in that 10 seconds, in each seconds, you will have 24 frames. So videos are basically nothing else, but video basically shows you so many images at the same time that it actually feels that it's moving and it do have a motion. Okay. So it actually makes us believe that we are looking at something which is basically moving. Okay. So when you are shooting any kind of video, it actually takes each and every frame. Let's say in 1 second, that would take 24 frames of the scenario and actually view that 24 frames to you in one particular second. And once you see so many frames at 1 second, it feels like a motion. Okay, so that's how a video is made. And also here you do have the playback frame rate, which is 24 as well. I can come here and I can basically choose that how many frames per second do I want from here. Okay, so you guys can come here, choose if you're looking for any slow-mo video, you guys can choose the frame rate accordingly. Let me take this 25 frames per second. That was about the timeline format. If you come down here, you guys can see you also do have different features, okay, and also different advanced features of creating a new project, okay. Once we move deeper into our classes, we'll be learning more about that. Okay, here you do have image scaling, you do have the color management, and once you're happy with all of these options, you guys can come here and you guys can just click on save. And over here in my preview panel, you guys can see I do have already created this particular project. Okay. And on top, you guys can see that I also do have the name of the project, which is creating a project over here. And also, oh, from here, you guys will be able to import your media. Okay, so you guys can come here and you guys will be able to import your media into this media panel. And if you come here into collections, you guys can see that you do have a lot of options over here. If you just double click into video clips, you guys can come here and these are few of the smart bins. Okay, so you guys can actually save up those things quite easily right over here. Okay, so yeah, I hope you guys do have understood this class on how you will be able to install DaVinci Resolve and also how you will be able to create up a new project, how you'll be able to set up the frames per second, how you will be able to set up the frame, okay, at what preset you are going to work on. Do you want to customize it or not? We have learned about that. So in next class, we'll be understanding about the whole workspace over here, how you will be able to work in a particular workspace. So see you all in the next chapter. Till then, take care and goodbye, everyone.